What's up, connoisseurs? It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ Stocks, crypto assets, news and interviews. The channel that was created by a retail investor for retail investors and home to the best MJ community. Today is Monday, it's September 9th. Hope you're doing well. In this video, we're going to be discussing Trulieve. There was a bull flag that confirmed at the end of the day into Power Hour. We didn't really have the S&P 500 cooperating into the end of the day, but it was up after hours. And we're getting the hourly bounce underway on the S&P 500 as well. So this could be some nice tailwinds going into tomorrow. We're going to take a look at the TCNNF chart, and we do have a bull flag that's targeting 1184. So we'll discuss all of that and more. But as always, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, and you should never buy or sell anything based on anything that I say or write. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff, and you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. Also, you can follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. And just in case we ever get shut off here on YouTube, it's the best way for me to get real-time updates out to the community. And they're going to be launching a competitor to YouTube and Netflix soon as well. It's called XTV. So I'm looking forward to that. There was also an article here from MJ Moment that Florida MJ legalization ballot initiative has enough support to pass. New poll finds as Trump backs reform. And I just posted a video earlier today that Trump is backing rescheduling and banking access ahead of the debate tomorrow. Getting a lot of people asking me about the debate. Do I think that we're going to see MJ mentioned? Maybe. I'm still not holding my breath. I don't think they're going to mention it in the first debate. I think. And then there was some news out that, Kamala Harris, she didn't have anything in the issues. I looked at the website. There was nothing pertaining to crypto or MJ, which is very shocking. It's almost as if they're trying to lose at this point. No idea. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm from Canada. I can't vote anyway, so it makes no difference to me. I just want what's best for this MJ industry long term. And it just doesn't make any sense. This shouldn't be a partisan issue. This should be a bipartisan issue. And 70 to 80% of the nation are in favor of legalizing it. So in my opinion, you have to give the people what they want, right? This isn't a dictatorship. And the article read, a new poll signals that Florida MJ legalization initiative that'll be on the November ballot has enough support to pass, exceeding the steep 60% threshold to enact a constitutional amendment under the state law, which we know the Trump is very well in favor of. He believes in states' rights. The Emerson College polling / The Hill survey found that 63.6% of likely voters in Florida back the MJ measure, while 27.2% are opposed and 9.2% remain undecided. So if we're already at 63.6 and 9.2 are undecided, well, I've been saying for a while now that I think it's going to come in somewhere around that 65% mark, mid 60s, and I think it's going to get passed as the most likely scenario. That includes 81% of Democrats, 62% of independents, and 51% of Republicans, the latest signal that MJ legalization enjoys bipartisan support in the Sunshine State. And we know that we have bipartisan support at the state level. Now we need it at the federal level, right? At the end of the day, there's 38 states that are legal in some form, soon to be 25 potentially with Florida, that are legal at the adult use level. It's time to give the people what they want. These elected officials, they work for the people. If we're still in a democracy, they should give the people what they want. Like I said, this isn't a dictatorship. And in my opinion, the only reason why they're holding this industry back is to protect the incumbents, the big pharmas, the big alcohol, and the big tobaccos of the world, so that they can get their paws all over it, right, and get position. No one ever likes anything new and disruptive. And if it's disrupting the status quo and the system, well, they have to hold it back as long as they can until they can figure out a way to use it to their advantage and benefit themselves before they open up the floodgates to the rest of us, right? That's just the way it goes. And you have to remember that a lot of these institutions, right, a lot of these big Wall Street banks, they don't have access to this industry yet. So we're essentially front running those large institutions, which are going to inevitably come pouring in, right? So we'll take a look at TCNNF on the OTC. So these are all in USD. And if we take a look at the hourly time frame, you can see here we had a low, we had the high of the bounce, and then a brief higher low. We didn't even lose the 0.236. So we had a brief higher low there at 1070. And then once we broke the high of the bounce there at 1098, that confirmed it. And you just take your measured move there from the low to the high, move it out to your 0.382 fib, and it says we're targeting 1184. And I was mentioning this in the Pow Group private community today, that the more names that confirm bull flags, the better, which means if a name hasn't confirmed an hourly bull flag and we're looking for one, it's on watch, well, then that increases the odds that it's going to do so as well. And MSOS actually had an hourly bull flag, and that one confirmed as well, targeting 749. So we just go down the list. AYR, same thing. Confirmed it, but didn't see much follow through. AYR is going to be another big beneficiary of Florida if they do pass adult use legalization. We know Trulieve has the biggest footprint there. They've also donated the most to, the initiatives in campaigning in the state, and Yes on 3. Like, there's been a lot of support backing this, and now that Trump is doing it, I think that's going to be what pushes it over the edge and gets it done, in my opinion. But the more names that confirmed hourly bull flags, the better. So we did have a very brief one here on GTBIF as well. Cresco, another same thing. So if MSOS is an hourly bull flag confirming, we can expect most of the major tier 1 names that are in MSOS ETF to have already done so as well. And then you can take a look at some of the Canadian names. So SNDL hasn't confirmed it yet, but it could tomorrow. So I'm thinking we could see tomorrow AM, if not a gap up, I think we could see some nice action into tomorrow because, like I said, SPY had hourly consolidation to end the day as well, but we're in an hourly uptrend. We have our low, high, higher low, and higher high. We're looking for another higher low here compared to 542.69, and it looks set. New higher low is at 544.19. So it's all about resistance there at 547.72. We're at 546.85 after hours and continuing the hourly bounce. So now it's about 547.72, and if we continue to see this EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well into tomorrow, like I said, this could bode well for MJ stocks. We could see a pretty decent gap up, if not some decent strength into the opening bell. So TCNNF on the weekly time frame, we're back above the 10-week moving average as well. We already had a stochastic bull cross, and the MACD just crossed bullish as well on the weekly time frame. So it's looking really good here from a medium to longer term perspective. And then if we take a look at the weekly moving averages, we just had that looks like the first ever 50 and 100 weekly moving average bull cross, and we back tested the 50 twice and confirmed it as support and never lost it. We dipped below it slightly, but we closed the candle above it in a big way. And here we are, we're heading towards that 200 weekly moving average there at 1742. That's the next level that we're going to be eyeing. So on the daily time frame, we did have a death cross that was forming, but the fact that, we had all of this unforeseen news with Trump and, this new poll showing that basically they're headed to passage, well, that can intervene with these technical patterns, right? It's not a guarantee. Just because there's a death cross doesn't mean we're absolutely going to see another leg down or more downside as a result of that cross, because they still haven't crossed yet. So that's something to be mindful of as well. So just because we see a death cross lining up doesn't mean that it's 100% going to play out, right? It's all about probabilities. I think it's probably like somewhere around 65% that it would see more downside, but we did see quite a bit of downside here. If we just take a look at the as we were starting to see those line up for a bear cross, we did dip down to $8. So we're back up over $11 here. We closed the day at 11.17, and it was the lead bull up over 15%. AYR, like I said, is another one not to forget about in terms of Florida, and that was up over 13%. And if you haven't seen my recent video, my MJ portfolio for September 2024, I did an update, and I give you my percentages as well. I don't own any Trulieve in my portfolio. I own it indirectly through MSOS, and I own a boatload of MSOS. So rather than go out and buy a bunch of individual names in the US, I just decided to buy MSOS as my main position. But Curaleaf is my biggest holding. So my number one is Tilray, then Curaleaf, then MSOS. So again, if you haven't seen that video, just check it out. But everything right now, obviously Trulieve, one of the lead bulls. I would say AYR is very, very strong as well. If we just zoom out here to the weekly time frame, just to get an idea of what Florida is doing for these names, we could be seeing, this looks like an inverse head and shoulders here on the weekly time frame as well. So we'll see if we come down, form a right shoulder. I don't think that's the most likely scenario, but we'll bring TCNNF up here on the weekly time frame. So weekly bounce underway for the second week in a row. We did have resistance there at 1123, and we hit 1124. So right now it's a double top. And then if we get over that, there's a lack of resistance until 1415, and then, like I said, we're looking at 1742 there on the weekly time frame. But the most important support short term here is 804. If we lose that, it's Geronimo. Look out below, because we only have support way down at 475 after that. So 804 is the level to hold. And you can make the case that we're back in a weekly uptrend as well. We have our low, high, higher low, and higher high. And we also avoided a weekly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross. So again, when you have a death cross lining up, a bear cross on the weekly EMAs, one would think that we were probably going to see a bit more downside until those crossed, but it's not always a guarantee. And if you have news that comes out, that can obviously nullify this. On the monthly time frame, though, we're gearing up for the first ever monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. And look how close they are to crossing. The EMA 12 is at 953 and EMA 26 is at 1042. So if we see those cross, it's looking like over the next month or two, we could very well see a $17 TCNNF price. And I would not be surprised in the slightest if we did see that. And if we just try to bring up the Canadian side, so TRUL on the CSE, that would bring us to around $22.33. So I do think that it's very achievable here into the end of the year. We also have Trump backing safe banking, rescheduling. We're probably going to see, uplisting at some point, if not at the end of the year in a lame duck session, potentially with banking, maybe into 2025. We know Trulieve was already in talks with a U.S. major exchange. So the writing is on the wall, and it's looking like there's going to be some epic fireworks here into the end of the year, and I'm excited. I'm here for it, and grateful to be on this journey with every single one of you. But going to end it there, it's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth. Hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, smash the like, leave a comment. We'll continue the conversation in the comment section below. All right, have a great night, and we'll see you again on the next video.